Get ready for several big changes to your weather pattern across central Oregon. Some of those changes have already started with more clouds and a few sprinkles, but showers roll into the high desert tonight. Saturday brings a chance of thunderstorms with some clearing and a big drop in temperatures, and then even more change is expected through the rest of this week and into next week. Hey everyone, Darrell here from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center. We are about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Take a look at what's been happening and what's going to happen through the next couple of days, how that's really going to impact us if we have any plans. We're going to start things off with what it looks like outside. We have a mixture of a whole lot of cloud cover with a little bit of clearing. There have been some light showers and sprinkles already working their way through parts of central Oregon, but at this time, satellite and radar does not look too bad at all. With a couple of these cameras, you can see where clouds are starting to thin out a little bit. Now, with satellite and radar, satellite shows us where the cloud cover is, radar shows us where the current rain is, and over our Tri-County area, we don't have too much of rain. Now, when we go ahead and look at other parts of the Tri-County area, or other parts of the state, we see that the main front is still rolling inland. So we're sitting in the warm sector of this system, and it's really not going to be until later tonight that that cold front pushes through. But already we're starting to get that dip in temperatures. But when we look at a different version of satellite and radar that actually shows the low pressure and where its fronts are, we can see that the warm front has passed. That happened last night. That's when we started to get some of this additional cloud cover, and the cold front is still on the way. Right in that section between fronts, that's the warm sector of the system. So we have winds that have been variable coming out of the northwest, but a little bit of the flow is coming out of the south. And what that means for us is a little more moisture has been pumped into our Tri-County area. So it's good for relative humidity, but it's also setting the stage for even more precipitation as we go through tonight and into tomorrow. Looking at an infrared satellite imagery, I threw an enhancement on it. It really pulls out the tall clouds, and we can see that over parts of central Oregon, some of those clouds are tall, but we don't have much in the way of rain or thunderstorms. So we're still expecting the impacts of this next cold front to increase through the next several hours going into tonight. It's not going to be till later tonight that we start to see some of these scattered and then widespread showers. Now tonight, not looking at heavy rainfall, but by tomorrow, we could be seeing some changes that are going to cause us to take a step back and look and see exactly what's happening, track those cells as they roll through. The parent low for this cold front is still off the BC coastline, working its way to the east, but what's going to happen is this low is going to meander over the Gulf of Alaska through the next several days. As it does that, it continues to sling waves of moisture into the Pacific Northwest. Now, that's mostly going to be in and out clouds, and the main rain event is going to be tonight and tomorrow. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of other things. First, before we really get into that, I'm going to pull in another graphic. I think it's in here in the lineup somewhere, but I really wanted to talk about it right now. There is a flash flood watch for Saturday, and this is specifically honing in on where there are burn scars from the last couple of seasons. We are looking at periods of steady rainfall, especially in higher elevations, and where there is a burn scar, a lot of the times that has loose soil or loose debris from the burn, and that's where we could get some areas of flash flooding as if the soil doesn't really soak in all of that moisture. So that's something we're going to be tracking through Saturday, especially during the afternoon when thunderstorm activity begins to develop. It's not going to be for everybody, mostly east of the 97 corridor, but where some of those thunderstorms pop up, that's where we could be looking at some of these areas of flash flooding. Now let's look at the high resolution forecast model. In this one, we're going to take little by little. I'll show another one later on that we go through a little bit quicker. But here through the next couple of hours, we keep the cloud cover and a few showers are going to be possible. Most of that in our higher elevations, and it's not until after midnight, so between midnight and 2 a.m. that we start to see some of these showers come over the crest of the Cascades, down the eastern slopes and into our Tri-County area. And then through the rest of the morning hours, off and on showers are expected. Now during this time, winds could become breezy at times, and then by Saturday during the late morning and midday hours, we have some periods of clearing. But watch what happens by the afternoon. Where we really get some of that clearing, temperatures pick up a little bit more. However, we still have the lingering moisture over the high desert, and some thunderstorm development is going to be possible. Now, these thunderstorms aren't going to be widespread. At this point, it doesn't look like we have a chance of severe weather. However, where some thunderstorms roll through, we could be looking at areas of flash flooding, which turns a garden variety thunderstorm into severe weather. But that's going to be happening through Saturday afternoon and evening as those thunderstorms continue to roll through. Then by Sunday, we have in and out, let me get forward a little bit to Sunday morning. There we go. We have in and out clouds expected through the day. By Sunday afternoon, some showers could pop up on radar, and most of the activity is going to be over south central and eastern Oregon when it comes to the thunderstorm development. However, Sunday it's something we're going to be tracking, but I really think Sunday brings sunshine mixed with some cloud cover, clouds coming and going, winds getting breezy at times, and temperatures starting to rebound. But let's look at a different forecast model. This is not a high resolution one. This is the one I typically use on air, and it's showing that here through the overnight hours, that's when we get those showers, so very similar to the last one, and then that starts to clear out, but we have a chance of afternoon thunderstorm activity on Saturday. By Sunday, in and out clouds. This one has a few showers in parts of the Tri-County area, but not as scattered to widespread as what we're looking at Saturday morning and then again Saturday afternoon. But then by Monday, we really start to clear out. So some clouds early, those clouds thin out during the midday hours. We're looking at more sunshine later in the day, and then by Tuesday, tons of sunshine. So now that we've looked at a couple different forecast models, we're going to skip ahead. This one is the long-range forecast model. It's not as high of resolution, so we're going to skip past the activity portion when it comes to showers and thunderstorms and just focus on what happens through the rest of the 7-day planner. So by Monday at 11 p.m., very little cloud cover over the high desert. Tuesday, sunshine. Few afternoon clouds. Wednesday, sunshine. Thursday, sunshine. You're picking up on a theme here, right? Yeah, original high pressure is building into the region, and that's going to leave us with tons of sunshine and a huge warming trend that goes all the way through the rest of the 7-day planner. So between now and 7 a.m. Saturday, that's when the overnight showers are going to be pushing into the high desert, and many of us are going to get wet. And then through the rest of Saturday, not only do we have continued showers, but some thunderstorms are expected. Then by Sunday, a few areas get some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms. By Monday, not much is changing. That's because we're clearing out and we're back to sunshine. Look at these relative humidity numbers. Typically this time of the year, this time of the day, we're sitting in the 20s, teens, and even some single digits. Right now, we've got much higher precipitation or much higher humidity. And remember, this is all in percentages. And so we have that moist air mass that's moving in, and that's saturating the column. So when showers start to come over the crest of the Cascades, we are going to be looking at some rain. Now, in the last 24 hours, temperatures topped out in the 70s and 80s. And right now we're still mostly in the 70s with some 80s. That cooler air mass is starting to come into the area as well as the additional moisture. And so earlier today we were running a few degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago. Now we're running several degrees cooler than we were this time on Thursday. Now through the rest of this evening we gradually fall out of the 70s into the 60s and 50s, but a mild night is expected. Mostly 50s and 60s with a few 40s possible. Now going forward through the next couple of days, our UV intensity dips down because we're looking at additional cloud cover, because it's later in the summer, and because we have these showers that are going to be rolling through. So very moderate UV intensity forecast. I could even push that down to low, but I know we're going to be looking at some midday and afternoon clearing. I do not think it's going to be a good day to get out and do a lot of outdoor activities, especially if you start early, and then by the afternoon we have that chance of thunderstorm activity. But later on through the rest of this weekend and next week, the UV intensity forecast does definitely come back up to very high. So roller coaster temperatures are on the way, and it starts with today. Today, we topped out in the 80s with some 70s. Tonight, we're looking at mild conditions, but by tomorrow, 70s and a few 80s. Showers, some thunderstorms, really a cooler air mass over the region. By Sunday, we start to see the rebound in temperatures, and some showers are still going to be possible. Some thunderstorms for eastern Oregon and south central Oregon, but definitely starting to warm up And Monday, that sunshine and warming trend gets into full swing. We're really going to see temperatures climb up each day after that, eventually getting back up to near average for this time of the year by hump day of next week. And then after Wednesday, we're getting out of the 80s and into the 90s. So between now and Sunday at 11 p.m., we're all getting wet. Most of that happens tonight and tomorrow. And when it comes to winds, right now they are a little on the gusty side, gusts between 15 and 25 miles per hour for the most part. Actual wind speeds 10 to 20 miles per hour, again for the most part. And here through the next few hours, it's going to be breezy at times and back down to a light breeze overnight, 2 to 10 miles per hour, swinging around to the south and southwest. And then by the time we get to Saturday, winds don't pick up too much unless you're around one of those thunderstorms. By Sunday, back to the breezy afternoon. So for tonight, expect 50s and 60s with a few 40s out there, more showers, and then by tomorrow, that's when we're looking at showers, periods of clearing, some thunderstorms, and the coolest day out of the next 70s with a few 80s out there. Here's your 7-day planner. It does show that tomorrow brings the most activity we're looking at through the next several days. Sunday and Monday, in and out clouds. Monday's when we really start to clear out and when the warming trend takes shape. And then through Wednesday, 80s, then by Thursday and Friday through the 80s, reaching into the 90s, again with no rain in sight. So here's a quick recap. Your headlines for this Friday, August the 15th. Fall vibes are definitely going to be in swing here through this weekend, especially on Saturday. It's going to be cooler, it's going to be wetter, but then we start to see some changes on Sunday. Still have a low chance of showers with a few thunderstorms. And most of those showers, that rain activity is going to start later tonight, mostly after midnight, and some thunderstorms are expected by Saturday. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News with the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. I'm going to leave you with one more look of satellite and radar. Only a few sprinkles, but a whole lot of cloud cover. Most of that precipitation is still well off to our west and northwest. That's it. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll see you then.